Welcome to Football with Cheese. So I broke down the draft of all 8 divisions. If you have not checked those out, they're on my channel. I'll link 2 of them in boxes here at the end. But in today's video, I'm going to go over some teams I thought did really well, a few teams that did not do so well. I'm going to go over the best 5 values and basically just go over some observations as well. If you have not subscribed, please do so now. Enable alerts so you never miss a video. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the best 5 picks in the draft, in my opinion. And I'm going to show where they were on my board and where they were on the consensus. The order will be determined by where they were drafted. Dominic Ezaraku, edge, Boston College. Dallas Cowboys. I had him 17th. Consensus had him 29. They got him 44th. This dude is a stud. He was extremely productive in the ACC. He's got long arms. He's so explosive. I have no idea why he fell because his character is off the charts. The only thing I can think of is he's 6'2", 248 pounds, and he might be maxed out physically. Can't put on any more weight, which means he's a designated pass rusher only. But teams use first-round picks on designated pass rushers, so this makes no sense that he fell. Great job, Dallas. Savon Revell Jr., cornerback, East Carolina, also with the Cowboys. Cowboys just had one of the best possible day twos you could have. I had him 25th. I had him 19th originally. I moved him down because of the injury. He's a tall, long corner, great at press man. He's got ball skills. He was on his way to being a top 20 pick before he hurt his knee. Might not be ready to start the year. So that's the reason he fell, but he should not have fallen all the way to pick 76. If you told me he went 46, I would have been surprised. I'm not shocked he didn't go in the first round. I did not think he would, but early second round, I thought for sure he'd be gone. And he falls all the way to 76. That means just about every team passed on him twice. Insane. Next up, we have Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State, went to the Chiefs. We've talked about him a lot on this channel. I had him 27th. I was very aggressive with him. I liked everything about his film. There's just not much to dislike. He's explosive. He ran a 4.42. He runs great routes. He's lethal after the catch. He breaks tackles. He can play gadget role. He can return. He's great at securing the ball quickly. There's just not many things he doesn't do well. And I did some research, and I did find that some teams moved him down the board because of his foot injury. He tore a ligament and missed about half the year. But he was healthy for the Senior Bowl. He was healthy at the Combine. So maybe they think he might not be able to hold up long term with that foot, but I don't care. He definitely should have gone at least 3rd round. I thought he'd go late 2nd round. The Chiefs got an absolute steal, and there are so many teams that took receivers in the 4th round that should have been 6th or 7th round picks and passed on Jalen Royals. Unfreaking real. Next up, we have Braden Swinson, edge from LSU, went to New England at pick 146. I had him 56th on the board. Consensus had him 71st. This puzzles me because there's no injury issue. There's no character issue that I've seen. I heard he was going 2nd round, that he had moved up. Some of the knock on him was he's a little undersized. He might have to be your number 3 rusher. But teams take number 3 rushers all the time in the 1st round. Definitely top 50. And he was very productive in the SEC. I do not understand this. Unbelievable steal for the Patriots at pick 146. And my last draft steal is Aeneas Peebles, defensive tackle, Virginia Tech, goes to the Ravens at pick 210. Oh my gosh. I had him 88th, but even consensus had him 134, which is a 4th round pick. I don't know why. Obviously, he's undersized. He's 6', 280. Okay? So he can't play on rundowns. Doesn't matter. It's a passing league. He's got a great first step. He's got a great swim move. Interior pass rush is more important than outside rusher because the quarterback has to go backwards. If they get pressure off the edge, they can step up, or if they get pressure on the left, they can run right. If they get pressure from the right, they can run left. It's so tough when you get interior pressure. Ask Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. That's how teams beat them in the playoffs. They got pressure up the middle on those quarterbacks. So the fact that a player that's such a good interior pass rusher falls all the way to pick 210, I don't know. Maybe there was a medical issue, but I didn't find anything. So Great Senior Bowl week as well. Just shocking. So Cowboys got 2, Chiefs got 1, Ravens and Patriots all got the 5 biggest draft steals. So we're going to start with worst drafts. We'll finish positive best drafts. I have 2 teams that I thought did the worst, and then 3 teams I thought did better than anyone else. The second worst draft, to me, was the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers lost probably more than anyone to trades and free agency. So they had to nail this draft, and they had a lot of picks. As you can see, they have 2/3, 2/4, 2/5. Mykel Williams was a good pick at 11. That's about where I had him going. So no problem there. It's what they did in day 2 that was, to me, really questionable. Alfred Collins is a run-stopping defensive tackle only. I thought he'd go later. Nick Martin is a 220-pound linebacker that, to me, felt like a special teamer, a late-round pick. Really athletic, really fast, but he's just too small, to me, to start in the NFL. Upton Stout, he listed as a corner here. He's probably a safety from Western Kentucky. I thought he was a late-round pick, special teamer. Just those picks, to me, were bad. And that is why I think they're the second worst draft. I love the C.J. West pick, but some of these other picks, Jordan Watkins was overdrafted. Marquez Siegel, Kansas State, I thought he'd be a priority free agent. I just did not like this draft at all. Except for C.J. West, there's not one single pick you're like, oh, wow, really good pick. Like, amazing pick. C.J. West should have gone probably in the 3rd round, but I just don't think the 49ers are any better. And they finished last in the division last year. And if you look at those other teams, Arizona got better. The Rams got better. And the Seahawks got a lot better. We're about to talk about them. So this might be the second straight last place team. They were in the Super Bowl a year and a half ago. Crazy. Worst draft is the Miami Dolphins. The biggest problem I have with their draft is they didn't have a 3rd or 4th round pick. They made 2 picks before the 5th round. And they're a team, despite not picking top 10, they needed a lot. And they're probably moving on from Jalen Ramsey. They needed to trade down, get more picks. They should have tried to move down from 13. You cannot tell me someone wasn't trying to move up for Tyler Warren ahead of the Colts. I would be shocked if their phone wasn't ringing like crazy. I like Kenneth Grant. I had him 16 on the board. They took him 13th. I don't really have a problem with that. Would he have been there if they moved back? Maybe. I think the Cardinals and Bengals could have taken him at pick 16 and 17. But the Dolphins needed so much. And Grant was inconsistent. The Ohio State game, he looked amazing. He dominated. And there's other games, the Texas game early in the year, where he just disappeared. So he is inconsistent. So he's a risk. But he is a nose tackle that moves like a 280-pounder. So I get why they made the pick. But then they took Jonas Savaiania in the 2nd round. They traded up for him and gave up a lot. And to me, he was more of a 3rd-round pick. I'm not as high on him as most. He's a tackle at Arizona. Probably has to play guard. I just think they reached for him because they really needed an offensive line. They didn't only reach, they traded up. And they didn't pick again till the 5th round. And to me, these are all backups. I wouldn't even draft a Quinn Ewers. I get it. Zeke Biggers might be my favorite pick of theirs just because he's athletic and long. He needs a lot of work, but at least 7th round, take a shot. But this draft just does not make them better. They're looking like the worst team by far in the division because the Jets and Patriots had good drafts. So it's going to be a rough year for the Dolphins. This was just a really bad draft. Okay, time to be more positive. Let's go over the best drafts. I'm going to start with that 3rd best draft. It might shock a few people because I went with Dallas Cowboys, despite their 1st-round pick being a big reach. And some think it's the biggest reach of the entire draft. Tyler Booker, though, is very productive at Alabama. He fits a huge need. I understand why Dallas drafted him. Jerry Jones loves taking offensive linemen in the 1st round. He wants to have a dominant offensive line. The problem with it is they probably could have moved back and gotten more picks. I believe that Booker was not going to be drafted again until 25, and Houston would have taken him at 25. I don't know for sure. There are teams that needed offensive guards that could have taken him. That's just what I think. So if they had traded, they would be number 1 on this list. Let's put it this way. If they had traded back and still gotten him. If they had moved back to 18, 19, 20 and still gotten him, I would put them number 1. That's how good the rest of the draft. I liked every single one of these picks after that. We just talked about Ezra and Ravel. Don't have to go over it again. Jaden Blue should be a really good 3rd down back. Ajani Cornelius was a steal. I thought he'd go fourth round. He could develop into a starting guard, could be a backup tackle. Dallas really needed a good draft. Their previous two were bad, and they nailed it. They got, to me, 3 starters with their first 3 picks and some really good backups at worst. Outstanding job by the Cowboys. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders. And they took a running back first round. Typically, you can find Pro Bowl running backs on day 2, so you should go more offensive tackle, defensive tackle, edge rusher, obviously quarterback in the first round. But Ashton Jeanty is special. We've talked about him a lot on this channel. He's a special player, and you had to make that pick. The Raiders needed a running back. I would have done the same. Then they traded down twice, and this is why they're number 2. They traded down twice, got all these extra picks, and still got Jack Bech, wide receiver TCU, one of the best route runners in this draft. He's a good athlete. I think he's better after the catch than he gets credit for. He's a good blocker. Just one of those guys that's probably going to be better than people think. So love that pick. Then you got Darian Porter. When you have all these picks, you can take chances. So they took a chance with Darian Porter. Only 7 career starts, but he's tall, long, and athletic. One of the best athletes at the cornerback position ever at the combine. So why not? And then Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, late 3rd round. Love their upside. And then Dante Thornton, wide receiver, Tennessee. Tall, fast, deep threat. Tommy Malotz, really interesting. Played quarterback at Montana State. He's going to move to receiver. Cody Lindenberg was a steal. This whole draft was just good up and down the board. So you got to be asking, why are they second? Who's better? And my number 1 is the Seattle Seahawks. So John Schneider's been their GM for well over a decade now. I feel like Seattle is one of those teams that either has an amazing draft or terrible, no in between. They won the Super Bowl, I believe, 11 years ago. Went to the Super Bowl back-to-back years because they had 2 or 3 really good drafts in a row. Then they had some bad drafts. So John Schneider is really hard to predict, but they absolutely nailed it this year. I liked every single one of their picks. Gray Zabel, we've talked about him. He's a stud. He was one of the best players at the Senior Bowl. No one could beat him in reps. They needed a left guard. Nick Emenwari should have gone first round. They traded up to get him. A lot of people had Emenwari even ahead of Zabel on their boards. So incredible. I love Elijah Arroyo pick. He would have gone higher in this, but he's only had 1 year in college where he stayed healthy this past year. But he's a great route runner, great receiving tight end. Jalen Milroe, late 3rd round. He has as much upside as any quarterback in this draft. He's a 4.4 40 guy with good size, good arm. He needs a ton of work. He needs to sit for 2 years. You can use him in certain packages, but why not? Late 3rd round. I love this pick. And then they didn't have a 4th round pick probably for moving up for Emenwari. But the rest of their draft, Torrey Horton was an absolute steal. So was Damian Martinez, Ricky White. I think Seattle got a lot better, and they won 10 games last year. If Sam Darnold plays well, they're definitely a playoff team. So Seattle got my number 1 on the list. So what Seattle and Las Vegas and Dallas did, if you look at their drafts, all 3 of them, they let the draft come to them. Except for maybe the Booker pick. But they didn't reach. They weren't desperate to fill a need. They let the draft come to them, sat back, took the best player on their board, regardless of position. And that's how you have to draft. Obviously, you have to take positional value into account as well, but it just up and down the board, Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, love those picks, probably both future stars on the offensive line, really athletic players. Just up and down the board, all 3 of these teams just sat there and took the best player. That is how you have to draft. Let other teams make mistakes and reaches, and when players fall in your lap, make the pick, or trade back and get more picks like the Raiders did, and then trade up for Emenwari when he falls, a player you probably had in your top 20. A lot of people did. And who knows, maybe if Gray Zabel's not there, the Seahawks used their 1st round pick on Emenwari. So those were the 3 best. Teams like the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Patriots, Jets also did really well, just didn't make my top 3. So who do you think had the best draft? Who do you think had the worst draft? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've not subscribed, please do so now. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. What I think I'm going to do for the next month and a half, I think I'm going to recap all 32 teams off season. So yes, 32 videos, but there's not a whole lot going on until training camp. I think after that, we're going to revisit some older drafts and see who ended up being better compared to what the grades said. So I'll probably do that more June, July. But starting next week, look for my videos. What I think I'm going to do is go over the 2 best moves for every team and maybe 1 questionable move and where I think they're going to end up in the 2025 season. So look for that. So if you have not, please check these videos out. Share those with anyone who loves football so we can grow the channel. And I will see you in the next one.